Okay, so you want to make chocolate. The permutations are almost endless, but you've got to start someplace. So what I'm going to recommend to you for your first batch, and usually often your first bean, if you are undecided where to go, is to do the same thing I do with every evaluation chocolate I make. I make a 75% dark chocolate. It's not super dark, it's not super light. It shows off the chocolate well, and it gives you a springboard of where to go with that. You can, make it a little darker, a little lighter, your choices, but it's good. It's a good springboard. So if you've been following along, we have roasted a set of beans. We've cracked and winnowed them. So the next is to weigh this out. I guess I'm a retired chemist. I've been in the lab for 20 odd years. As far as spoken languages go, I'm not bilingual, but I am metric bilingual, if you want to call it that way, or metric fluent. And I like working that way. It just makes life easy, especially in this stuff. And you'll see why, I hope. We're going to make a kilogram of chocolate. What that means is 1,000 grams. And what it means also is the calculations are really simple. So when I say we're going to make a 75% chocolate, there's no standards on this, but it's reasonably well accepted. What it means is the percentage comes up to the amount of cocoa mass or nibs you have and the amount of cocoa butter. The combination of those is the percentage of chocolate. So in this case, we've got 70% cocoa nib, 5% cocoa butter. So right there, and right this time it's saying 705, not a big deal. Cocoa butter, 55. Again, this thing only has a discrimination of 5 grams. I pre-weighed it. That's where it is. The combination, hopefully we're right at 75. There we are. And this is just to give you an idea what these look like. And then comparably, the remainder is 25% sugar, 250 grams. Yeah, it's all now wanting to weigh high. That's okay. And that's actually a really good point to make. That's 0.5% of difference, if it's even real value. You'll never taste the difference. Get down to just a little bit. It's fine. So that's what those look like. That's going to be your first batch of chocolate. 70% cocoa, 5% cocoa butter, and 25% sugar. After this, to get this going, we will melt our cocoa butter, add it to a heated melanger. We're going to warm our nibs slightly and start adding those to the melanger. Once that is flowing smoothly, we'll then start incorporating in the sugar. That will then run for, I tend to say, run it for a day. Start it at one point in the day when you've got free time, pull it off the next day. It's going to be fine. I give a big window, if you read a lot of what's on the site, that's, anywhere from, 12 hours to 36 hours to 72 hours or 96 hours. It's going to be smooth enough at 24. It's going to taste good at 24. You then get to decide if, what you want past that. Taste it along the way. That's every step. Watch how it changes. It's a real transformation. That's what this is about. It's chocolate alchemy. Alchemy is the, transmutation of a base substance, beans, to a higher substance, chocolate. And it's chocolate alchemy. Watch the transmutation. It's fun. And you get to eat chocolate. Let's go make some. So what I've got here is, I've got actually an older model of the melanger. This is actually the original Spectra 10 from, 10 years ago. It's pretty much one of my workhorses. I've got, I think, 4 or 5 different melangers around here. So anyway, we've got the melanger. What I've done is this bowl and the stones inside are all preheated, so we don't have to overcome a cold bowl and it generating friction, and it just takes longer. You can do it, but I like preheating it. Just make your life easy. 150 degrees, put it in your oven, put it on warm. Don't let it get too hot. The epoxies actually aren't stable up above the 150 mark, so pay attention to that. 15 minutes, half an hour, something like that. Anyway, so that's all preheated. The 700 grams of cocoa nibs have been preheating in this little oven. Just again, take the chill off. And I can reach in here, and they're not really hot, but they're not cold either. They're, well, little thermometer here. They are, they're looking at about 120 degrees, and they've only been there, for 10, 15 minutes. Just again, take the chill off. On the other hand, I've got the cocoa butter, the 5% cocoa butter, the 50 grams, that I've heated up actually pretty hot. It helps, again, give more heat to the melanger, helps the nibs, gives them a fluid to work on, and it just makes the whole process go easier. And it's right at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, pretty warm. Cocoa butter can actually take it. It doesn't start smoking until nearly 400 degrees, doesn't burn, doesn't really change the flavor that I've ever noticed. So that's what I do. I talked about it in a couple other types of chocolate, the milk chocolate and the white chocolate, but if you want to add a couple of optional ingredients, being lecithin or whole vanilla beans, this would be a nice time to add them. Teaspoon of lecithin in there if you want. It's going to dissolve right down, so it'll foam up a little bit. Or again, cut a vanilla bean in half, scrape it out, put it in while it's warm. It's going to extract out really nice. Just like hot tea or hot coffee extracts better in hot water than cold water. So anyway, that's it. Without much else, let's get going on this. Just because it's right here, we've also got our 250 grams of sugar. I may or may not preheat it. We'll see how it's flowing. We'll be adding this stuff in stages, so we'll see. Let's go ahead and get the warm cocoa butter in. Get it running. And get that top nut tied down. And you can hear the slight change as it starts to set in. After that, we want to get some of our nibs. So I mentioned the nibs aren't that hot, but the underneath pan's a little warm. And just come in, just a handful at a time. And what you're looking for is just this starting to slow down just a little bit. And feed this in nice and slow. You don't dump these in like you were making a cake batter. You just don't dump the ingredients in. It's going to clog. You got to feed it in a little at a time. Give it time to work. These granite rollers are rolling on a lower plate of granite. It's going to grind these nibs down. So over the last half hour, about every 10 minutes or so, I've added more nibs, and all 700 grams are in now. It's running very smoothly. It's got a nice sheen to it. And so it's time to add the sugar. And again, we're going to do it the same way. Don't just dump it all in. You need to add it a little at a time and listen to it. Watch it as the wheels start to slow down a little bit. Stop. Give it 5 minutes. It's going to reduce the particle size on that sugar, and you can add more again. So again, optional. You can preheat it if you want. It's not too cold right now, so I'm just going to add it straight. There you go. You can hear it. And again, I'm just sprinkling in. And we should be able to get actually a good majority of it in. Okay, you can hear it start to, the pitch of the machine's dropping. Now I want to let it sit for a few more minutes while the particles reduce, and then we can add the rest of that sugar. All right, so The sugar that I put in previously has ground down a little bit. The motor's going easier. It's gone from that grainy texture to a nice smooth gloss that you'd expect from chocolate. So we're gonna add the last of the sugar. And again, just, feed it in slowly. There you go, you can hear the wheels grinding it down. There we go, that's the last of that. And okay, so what you wanna do next, again, taste it along the way. It's gonna taste good. It's gonna be a lot different than it's gonna be 24 hours from now. It may taste actually very acidic right now, pretty sharp, and I can sit here right now, I can smell the acids coming off. You need to let those release. What that means is, don't put the lid on yet. Leave it off for, 3 hours. There, 3 hours. Leave it off. Because the other thing that's going to come off of this is water. Yes, we've roasted stuff, all these ingredients are dry, but there is moisture in it. And it almost feels like a contradiction, but if we put this on, moisture is going to condense on the inside of this. It's going to then, and mind you, this is all flowing well, but it's going to drip in, and that sudden shock of that water that was in there already coming in as a clump can well seize the chocolate, and your whole machine locks up, and it's not a good situation. So an hour or 3 hours, leave it off. After that time, there you go, put it on, come back, 21 hours after that. So 24 hours from the time you started it. And it should be ready. We can then, you've made chocolate at that point. You'll need to temper it if you want to, but that's up to you. This point was making chocolate, and that's what we've done. All right, so this has been this is our dark chocolate. It's been running about 12 hours now. I put the lid on about 3 hours after it was started. One thing that's just handy to do is take a spatula or something and run down the side of the bowl. Just hold it in place. Get anything that's off the side of the bowl working in. It should be pretty smooth at that point, but it's just it's just handy to do. So just get it in there, work it down, give it a scrape on the wheel. And while you're at this, absolutely. Give it a taste. So at 12 hours, even though it looks like chocolate, it's glossy, it's flowing really wonderful. At 12 hours on my tongue, I can tell it's got some texture to it. And it's got some brightness to it, more than I really want. So, and again, I'd said run this 24 hours, so that's what we're gonna do. So, I just wanted to show you, give it a scrape down halfway through if you remember, 8 hours, 16 hours, something like that. And, we'll close it back up and come back 12 hours and we'll finish this up. Thanks. All right, it's been 24 hours. Let's check on the chocolate. It basically looks like it did at 12 hours. It's smooth. From an aroma standpoint, actually, it's got more of a rich aroma. There's not particularly the acidity that we had early on. And we can sit here and check it. And that is chocolate. That is ready. For your taste, if you want to keep it going, feel free. Give it another full day if you want. It's virtually impossible to over-refine in these. So, that's it. We can turn that off. Something I didn't mention early on, these have tension caps. So you want to, we've got to take the tension cap off now. And a spring holding those rollers in place. So, from the beginning, you need to make sure you had that tightened all the way down. Okay, chocolate, it gets messy. Let's go ahead and pull those rollers out. Normally, I would sit and scrape those down really well. For the sake of video, I'm just going to set them right here. And we're a little messy there. And there we go. And we have chocolate. We're going to pour that up. There. This. Give it a nice scrape down. Okay. And frankly, you know, that's going to be expected. Yeah, just what it is. Be aware and ready for it. But aside from that, there we go. Nice kilogram of chocolate, dark chocolate. You can temper this up. You can, you know, just let it set up. You can pour it onto a slab. Any number of things that you would do with any other chocolate, except that you've made this one yourself. That's it. If you got any questions, please feel free to drop me a line, alchemist@chocolatealchemy.com. Thanks for watching.